Alright, here we are, 4.4, get to the point. So solidify understanding task, something we are doing together in class. But if you missed it, you can take a look at this. So we're still dealing with Carlos and Clarita. They need to clean the storage shed where they plan to board the pets. They have decided to hire a company to clean the windows. After collecting the following information, they have come to you for help deciding which window cleaner company they should hire. So we've got the Sunshine Express Window Cleaners, which charges $50 for each service call, plus $10 per window. And then we have the Painless Window Cleaners. They charge $25 for each service call, plus $15 per window. Okay, so which company would you suggest and why? Prepare something that you can use to support it. So not just saying, oh, I like this one because it's better, kind of thing, okay? So we should notice that the Sunshine and the Painless is cheaper to begin with, but costs more per window, okay? So we need to figure out some way that we can kind of compare these two. So depending on how many windows you have. So what I would do is probably make some sort of table. So we'd have the Painless one, number of windows. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, then we'd have the Sunshine. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. Let's kind of go from there. So again, Sunshine, 50 for a service call. Okay, so it'd be like if you just called them and needed them to come look at something, but no windows were cleaned, $50. Then 10 per window. Pretty easy, right? One window would then cost total 60, then 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, and so on. We could even make an equation, couldn't we? 50 plus 10x. Okay? We could even graph it if we wanted to. Right? We'd count by 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So we'd start right there. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 ones, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, okay, and so on, right? And we'd have a line looking something like this, okay, that would keep going. Alright, then the Painless. So this one we start out at 25 for the service call, and then it's 15 per window. So 15 would get us up 40, then 55, 70, 85, 100, 115, 130, 145, 160, 175. Okay, and again we could graph that one as well, right? 0, 25, so about right there. And then it goes up by 15. About there. It looks something like that. Okay. Now, we should notice a few things, shouldn't we? Okay, we should notice what happens at 5 windows. Okay. That's the same amount. Okay, we notice it on the graph because they intersect at that point. 5 windows costing $100. Okay, so what that tells us is when we're explaining this, it's not so cut and dry. And if we knew how many windows they were going to get cleaned, that would probably help too. But basically, if you're going with 5 windows, doesn't really matter, does it? because it's going to cost the same. If you're going with more windows than 5, you're going to want to use sunshine. And if you're going with less than 5 windows, you're going to want painless. And that's what you'd want to explain to them. Okay? It's something like that. All right. So, your presentation to Carlos reminds him of something he has been thinking about, how to find the coordinates of the points where the boundary lines and the pet sitter constraints intersect. He would like to do this algebraically since he thinks guessing the coordinates from a graph might be less accurate. Okay? So, let's remind ourselves of the equation. So, space was 6x plus 24y. Now, if we're doing equations, normally we did inequalities, but here we're doing equations. So we put an equal here, and we had a total of 360. For the startup costs, it was 32x plus 80y equals 1280. Okay? So find where the two lines intersect algebraically. Record each step so that someone else can follow your strategy. Okay, so we've got to figure out how we can make these equal algebraically. Okay, then we want to do it for feeding time and pampering time. I believe feeding time was 12x plus 20y equals 480. And then pampering was 6x plus 20y equals 480 as well. Now, I think we could probably start with the feeding and pampering time, honestly. Now, what I would recognize is the fact that they're both equal to 480, aren't they? So remember, equal sign means the two sides are the same thing. So if this 16x plus 20y and 12x plus 20y are both equal to 480, couldn't we say that 12x plus 20y has to be equal to 16x plus 20y? Now, to solve this, we got to get the y's on the same side, so I'd subtract 20y. And what we should notice is, honestly, they're both going to be eliminated. So we get 12x equals 16x. Okay, so I'd subtract 12x, which on the left side would leave me with 0. And then I'd get 4x on the right side, divided by 4, and 0 would equal x. Okay, is that all right for 0 to equal x? Yeah, sure. Okay, because it could be the y-intercept. So if I go back to these original equations to find y, I would go 12 times 0 plus 20y equals 480. That's 0. And if I did the same to the 16 times 0 plus 20y would equal 480. I should notice we're going to end up with 20y equals 480 on both. Right? Because 16 and 12 times 0 are both 0. So 480 divided by 20 on both sides, we notice that what is y going to equal? 24. So what does that tell us? That tells us where it intersects. The point where it intersects is the y-intercept, 0, 24. Okay? So, interesting. So now, what about number 2? How can we figure that one out? This one's not so easy. So, just like with the last one, we were able to get something the same and set that equal. What if we kind of did something like that? Let's just say, okay, we subtracted 24y and got 6x by itself. It'd be 360 minus 24y. Then I could divide everything by 6, because 6 goes into every single one of these numbers. And I'd get x equals 60 minus 4y. Okay, well, this has an x up here, and this x is equal to this. So what if I took 32 and got rid of the x and replaced it with this? Okay, then by doing that, I would end up distributing, so I'd get 1920 minus 128y plus 80y equals 1280. Okay, could subtract 1920, get negative 128y plus 80y equals 1280 minus 1920 give me negative 640. Then negative 128 plus 80, because they both have y's, give me 48y equals, or negative 48y equals negative 640. Then I could divide by negative 48, giving me y equals negative 640 divided by negative 48. Give me a horrible fraction, okay, which is a decimal is about 13.3 repeated, so 13 1/3. Or if we kept it as a fraction, it would be 40 over 3. Okay. All right. That would give us the y value, which that is pretty hideous. Okay, so honestly, I think graphing would be a better option here. But then to figure out the x, we just replace that 40 over 3. We'd have 160 over 3 subtracted from 60 equals x. So 160 divided by 3 is 53.33. So 60 minus that would be about 6 2/3, or 6.6 repeated. So we'd end up with 6 2/3 and 13 1/3, which is pretty ugly. Okay, so honestly, algebraically, I think it's not too fun either. But that's where they would connect. And remember, this was cats and dogs, which it doesn't really make much sense, right? Because you can't really have a partial cat or dog. All right, guys, but there we go for this one.